Hello and welcome to English Spark Official. I'm Zayden, joined as always by Alara.
Hey everyone! We're so excited about today's topic.
What if the greatest, the most patient, hyper-localized English teacher in the entire world is literally just sitting in your pocket right now?
Right, just disguised as a blank white box on your screen.
Exactly, because today we are hacking the Google search bar. We're taking this tool that was designed, purely for algorithmic speed, and just pulling data. And we're looking at how one really simple behavioral tweak transforms it.
Transforms it into a real-time, neurologically responsive language tutor. It's really wild.
It is. And welcome to the deep dive, by the way. We know you, our listener, you're someone who likes to bypass the fluff. You want the shortcut to being well-informed.
But you also refuse to just accept the what without understanding the why.
Right.
And the how beneath the surface.
Yeah, exactly. So you might be an English language learner yourself, looking for that specific breakthrough moment where the language finally just clicks.
Or maybe you're just fascinated by the cognitive science of it all, like how the human brain actually maps syntax.
Either way, this is exactly the conversation you need today. So let's get into the sources.
Yeah, so the material we are unpacking today comes from this educational framework called English Spark Official.
Okay.
And they present this pedagogical blueprint that's centered on a concept they call long-tail fluency.
Long-tail fluency. Okay, got it.
Right. And at the absolute core of this whole framework is something they call the 4+ word rule for Google search.
Which, I have to say, on the surface, that sounds like a really mundane SEO trick, like something a marketer would use.
It completely does.
Yeah.
But when you look at the cognitive mechanics behind it, it's actually this brilliant intervention. It's designed to bridge probably the most notorious gap in all of language acquisition.
You're talking about the plateau, right?
Exactly. That plateau between the foundational grammar of an intermediate learner, that A2 level.
It's where you're just scraping by.
Yeah. And the fluid, instinctual, connected speech of an advanced B2 speaker who is actually navigating an English-speaking environment.
Let's jump straight into that plateau, actually, because honestly, anyone who has ever studied a language knows exactly what we were talking about here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a universal experience.
You learn the rules, you pass the test, you have all this vocabulary locked in your memory.
But then you step out of the classroom.
Yes, you step onto a busy street in London or Chicago, and that entire theoretical architecture just completely evaporates. It's gone.
It just disappears.
So we want to unpack exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how typing just 4 words into a search engine somehow rewires that breakdown.
Right.
So let's unpack this. Long-tail fluency. When I hear long tail, my brain immediately goes to economics or statistics.
Sure, the business model side of it.
Yeah. It's the business model of selling small volumes of hard-to-find items to a ton of different customers instead of just selling blockbusters.
Right.
So how does a statistical distribution model apply to, I don't know, ordering a coffee or buying a jacket?
It is actually a phenomenal parallel if you really look at the linguistics of it.
Okay, how so?
Well, so in a statistical model, the head of the curve represents the massive volume of a few very common things, right?
Right, the big hits.
Exactly. Now, in language, the head of the curve is your foundational vocabulary. It's those high-frequency nouns and verbs.
Like, shoe, go, buy, water, things like that.
Precisely. And when learners hit that intermediate plateau we just talked about, they are entirely reliant on that head of the curve.
They're just using the blockbusters.
Yes. So they end up communicating in these short robotic chunks of isolated data. Like they have the vocabulary, but it is totally crystallized. It's rigid. The long tail of a language, however, consists of the infinite, highly specific, fluid combinations of words that native speakers actually use in the real world.
Okay, so long-tail fluency is what? The ability to access all those combinations?
Exactly. It's the ability to intuitively access the connective tissue, the prepositions, the auxiliary verbs, those subtle relative clauses.
The stuff that glues it all together.
Exactly. It's what turns isolated data points into an actual stream of human thought.
Okay. I want to dig into the neurological reality of that crystallization you just mentioned.
Sure.
Because we are making a pretty big assumption here, right? We're assuming the learner already has the vocabulary.
Fair point.
We know you, the listener, you understand the concept of the intermediate plateau. But what is actually happening in the brain when someone is stuck there?
Right, and the mechanics of it.
Yeah, like why is it so incredibly hard to move from knowing the word shoe to naturally asking, excuse me, where can I find the black shoes?
Well, the main barrier there is cognitive load. and also the persistence of native language translation.
Native language translation, so translating in your head before you speak.
Exactly. When an intermediate learner needs to communicate, their brain isn't retrieving an entire English concept all at once.
Oh, interesting. So what is it doing?
It's retrieving a concept in their native language first. Then it's breaking it down into discrete components, fetching the English equivalent for each piece one by one.
Wow, that sounds exhausting.
It is. And then after all that, it attempts to apply abstract mathematical rules, which is grammar, to assemble those pieces.
Right.
It takes immense processing power.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain, which is, an organ designed to conserve energy at all costs.
It just takes the lazy route.
Basically, yeah. It defaults to the path of least resistance. It drops the grammar entirely.
It just throws it out the window.
Exactly. It just fires the highest value nouns and verbs to ensure survival.
Yeah.
So it just outputs shoe, black, wear.
Shoe, black, wear. Wow. I mean, it achieves the goal, I guess. You'll probably get your shoes.
You will. But the problem is, it reinforces the neural pathway of fragmented robotic speech. You get stuck there.
Which brings us to the 4+ word rule.
Right.
So the English Spark Blueprint proposes that to break this specific neural pathway, you have to implement a strict behavioral intervention.
Microhabit.
Yeah. Whenever you use a search engine, you must type a minimum of 4 words. You are literally forbidden from searching a single noun.
You have to construct a full phrase or a question.
Okay, so you are forcing the brain out of that passive vocabulary retrieval and demanding active syntactic construction.
Precisely. You are demanding the long tail.
Okay, let me challenge the premise of this right out of the gate.
Bring it on.
The entire architecture of the modern internet is built on reducing friction. I mean, Google has spent billions of dollars developing an algorithm, so I explicitly don't have to type full sentences.
That's very true.
If I am standing on a street corner and I need a jacket, typing the word jackets gets me 3 billion highly localized results in, like, 0.2 seconds.
It does.
So why would I force myself to fight the frictionless nature of the tool? If I'm an English learner dealing with all that cognitive load you just described, I want the path of least resistance.
Well, you do want the path of least resistance for acquiring the physical jacket, yes.
Right.
But the path of least resistance is exactly the mechanism locking you into the intermediate plateau in the first place.
Oh, I see.
Right. Typing a single word yields a massive, untargeted avalanche of data. It serves your consumer need perfectly, but it provides absolutely zero linguistic feedback.
So you get the code, but your English doesn't improve at all.
Exactly. When you implement the 4+ word rule, you are deliberately adding a microdose of friction to your day.
A microdose of friction, I like that.
You are utilizing a concept we could compare to having bowling alley bumpers for your grammar.
Bowling alley bumpers. Okay, you're going to have to walk me through that. How is a digital search bar acting as a physical guardrail?
Think about it. When you bowl, the bumpers prevent the ball from dropping into the gutter, right?
Yeah, they bounce it back.
They guide it toward the pins, even if your trajectory is slightly off. Well, when you force yourself to type 4 or more words into a search engine, you activate Google's autocomplete feature.
Okay, the drop-down suggestions.
Right. Now, autocomplete isn't just a static dictionary. It is this massive predictive model trained on the semantic intent of billions of native speakers.
Okay, I see where this is going.
When you start typing a sentence and your grammar is slightly off.
Like your trajectory is heading for the gutter.
Exactly. The autocomplete dropdown appears and gently nudges your syntax back to the center. It provides the grammatically correct, native-sounding phrase before you even hit enter.
Wait. I have to push back on that too.
Okay.
Autocomplete is trained on what humans type, right?
Yes.
Humans are notoriously terrible at spelling and grammar. I mean, the internet is basically a graveyard of typos, fragmented sentences, and just terrible syntax.
That is a very fair point.
So how does an English learner know that the autocomplete suggestion is actually correct and not just, the most popular typo of the day?
That is a crucial distinction, and it goes really deep into how natural language processing models have actually evolved.
Because they've changed a lot, right?
Massively. A decade ago, autocomplete was much more heavily reliant on pure frequency, which did, surface a lot of typos.
Right. If 1 million people spell it wrong, it suggests the wrong spelling.
Exactly. But modern search algorithms, utilizing models like BERT and MUM, they don't just count keystrokes anymore. They map semantic relationships.
Meaning they understand what you're actually trying to say.
Yes, they understand context, intent, and linguistic structure. The algorithm aggressively filters out anomalies and elevates statistically significant native patterns.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It knows the difference between a high-frequency typo and a syntactically complete question. So when it suggests a phrase, you are looking at a highly sanitized, highly accurate reflection of the sort of cultural and linguistic zeitgeist.
That makes a lot of sense. So the algorithm is filtering all that noise for you.
Exactly. It's doing the heavy lifting.
Let's move this from the theoretical into the practical, because the source material uses everyday shopping as the primary laboratory for this rule.
It's the perfect use case.
Let's paint the picture for the listener. Say you are an English learner. You've recently relocated to Toronto or maybe Sydney. Winter is approaching. You need a waterproof jacket.
Okay, so if you operate purely on the instinct to conserve cognitive energy,
The robotic habit.
right, the robotic habit, you pull out your phone and type exactly what your brain translates. 2 words, buy jacket.
It's pure data extraction.
And it yields consumer results, sure, but no linguistic growth.
0.
Now, apply the 4+ word rule. You force your brain to engage the long tail.
Yep.
You type, where to buy waterproof winter jacket.
Okay, that's 6 words. So the rule is satisfied. But what is the exact mechanism of learning that's happening there?
Let's look at what happens when your fingers actually hit the keys. Imagine you start typing, where I buy.
Because in a lot of native languages, the verb structure doesn't require a modal auxiliary verb like can or should.
Exactly. You translate directly, where I buy.
Right, which is the classic intermediate omission.
Instantly, the bowling alley bumpers activate, the autocomplete drop-down appears, and the top suggestion is, where can I buy?
Ooh. It inserts the modal verb automatically.
Yes. It corrects the syntax in a completely non-judgmental, instantaneous way.
That is fascinating. You aren't sitting in a fluorescent lit classroom having some teacher mark your paper with red ink.
No.
You are experiencing passive correction. You are absorbing the rhythm of the language organically.
Exactly. And think about the compounding effect. After seeing autocomplete suggest, where can I buy, 20 or 30 times over the course of a month, your brain internalizes the structure through sheer exposure.
You don't even need to read a textbook chapter on interrogative pronouns or whatever.
Or modal auxiliaries, exactly. Your brain bypasses the mathematical rule learning entirely and just maps the pattern. It begins to just feel right.
I want you, the listener, to feel the physiological reality of this. We are going to do an interactive shadowing practice right now.
This is a great exercise.
If you are learning English, or honestly, even if you are a native speaker wanting to understand the mechanics of fluency, participate in this.
Yeah. Shadowing is incredibly effective.
Basically, shadowing is when you listen to a phrase and immediately repeat it out loud, matching the exact rhythm, intonation, and physical mouth placement. Right.
So my expert friend here is going to give you a target phrase generated by this 4+ word shopping rule. Listen closely, and then I'll give you a second to repeat it out loud.
Here we go. Where can I find affordable shoes?
Take a second and say that out loud.
Hopefully you gave that a try.
Yeah, and let's break down exactly what your mouth just did, or, what it should have done. Notice how where can I doesn't sound like 3 distinct words.
No, not in natural speech.
In natural long-tail fluency, the can gets reduced. It's not a hard A sound.
Right, becomes a schwa.
Exactly, a schwa, a lazy, relaxed sound in the throat. It sounds like, where can I find?
That reduction is the hallmark of advanced fluency. Textbooks teach you to pronounce every single letter.
Which sounds super robotic.
Exactly. Real life demands efficiency of breath. By shadowing the phrases suggested by the algorithm, you actually train your vocal cords to link those sounds. You blend the R of where into the C of can.
Let's do another one. Listen to the stress patterns here.
Which store sells the best winter jackets? Go ahead and try saying that one.
You should feel the emphasis there.
Right. Feel the physical stress on store, best, and jackets. The other words are just the connective tissue we talked about earlier.
They carry the grammar, but the stressed words carry the actual meaning.
And because you practice this aloud, you're building muscle memory in your tongue and jaw.
So when you actually walk into the physical store, that phrase is already queued up in your working memory. You aren't translating on the spot. You are executing a rehearsed script.
But, shopping from your phone, just sitting on your couch, that's a controlled environment.
It is. It's very safe.
You're safe. You have time to type slowly. The blueprint explicitly pivots from shopping to travel, and I think there's a profound psychological reason for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Shopping is safe because we are stationary, but the brain doesn't truly lock in complex grammar until it's tied to adrenaline, spatial movement, and necessity.
Which brings us to the ultimate stress test of language learning.
Navigating a new city.
Travel completely strips away your safety net. You are dealing with spatial awareness, time constraints, and a much, much higher penalty for miscommunication.
Right. I mean, getting the wrong jacket is an inconvenience. Getting on the wrong train to the airport is a disaster.
It's a total nightmare.
Let's set the scenario for you. You've just walked out of a subway station in a massive, unfamiliar city. You are jet-lagged. You have a connecting train to catch in 45 minutes, and you are desperately in need of a coffee.
The stress spikes immediately. The cognitive load is maxed out.
You're in survival mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you revert to the robotic habit, you pull out your phone and hammer in 2 words, coffee station.
Which makes logical sense. I want coffee. I am near a station.
It does make logical sense.
Yeah.
But look at how the search algorithm processes that complete lack of syntax. Coffee station is deeply ambiguous.
Oh, true.
Are you looking for a piece of furniture to build a coffee station in your kitchen?
Like a Pinterest board.
Right. Or are you looking for a gas station that happens to have a coffee machine? Without the connective tissue of grammar, the algorithm has to guess your intent, and it does it incorrectly a lot of the time.
It's basically the digital equivalent of standing on a street corner and just shouting the word coffee at random pedestrians.
Which brings us right back to the 4+ word rule. You have to force the adrenaline aside and construct the long tail. Best coffee shop near train station.
Best coffee shop near train station. 6 words. But the magic here isn't just clarity of search results, right? Let's look at the grammar you were forcing yourself to use.
By expanding a thought, you naturally incorporate an adjective, best. You construct a compound noun, coffee shop.
Right.
But most importantly, you are forced to utilize a preposition of place, near.
Okay, stop right there. Prepositions. I really want to spend some time here.
Let's do it.
Because prepositions are universally cited as one of the absolute most frustrating, illogical barriers in English language acquisition. Why are they so incredibly hard to learn?
Because prepositions are not just grammatical tools. They are the way a culture maps spatial reality.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And every single language maps spatial reality differently. In English, we conceptualize time and space in highly specific, sometimes completely contradictory ways.
Oh, yeah. Like we get in a car, but we get on a bus.
Exactly. We're at the hospital, but we're in the bed.
It makes no sense when you just look at it.
It doesn't. Other languages might use a single directional marker for all of those, or rely on entirely different spatial metaphors. So when a learner tries to memorize prepositions from a textbook,
Staring at a diagram of a little ball in a box or a ball on a box.
right, it remains totally abstract. It doesn't connect to their lived reality at all.
So how does typing near train station or directions to the airport into a phone actually rewire that spatial memory in the brain?
Because it connects the abstract grammar to urgent physical survival.
The adrenaline again.
Exactly. When you type directions to the airport and the map application physically turns your body and guides your steps, your brain associates the preposition to with forward physical motion and destination.
Wow. You are anchoring the syntax to your sensory perception of the world.
Yes. When you search hotels by the river, your brain physically maps the concept of by to proximity and geography.
You are literally mapping the physical world using English grammar. That is incredible.
And the autocomplete bumpers are there to save you if you use the wrong spatial map.
Right, so if I start typing fastest way for the airport, mapping a direct translation from a language like Spanish, for example,
Google immediately suggests to the airport, instantly correcting your spatial preposition.
it's a real-time, context-specific grammar correction happening while you're physically moving through the environment.
That's exactly what it is.
Let's do another shadowing exercise to really lock this in. Listener, you are back in that busy train station. You need information, and you need it quickly.
We're going to practice the rhythm of urgent travel questions.
Match the stress. Match the speed. Listen closely.
What is the fastest way to the airport?
Try saying that out loud.
It's a very functional chunk of language.
It is. Let's analyze the breath on that one. Fastest way. Notice how the T in fastest almost disappears when it runs into the W of way.
You don't say fastest way.
Right, it becomes fast way. Your tongue stays near the teeth. Let's do one more, focusing on a very tricky, very common chunk of functional language. Listen to this one.
How much does a train ticket cost?
Give that one a try. Say it out loud.
That one is definitely a tongue twister for a lot of learners.
It really is.
Oh.
How much does that sequence of words requires a ton of jaw movement? How much does that? By forcing yourself to search that phrase multiple times, you are literally training the muscles of your face to navigate the gymnastics of English phonetics.
So when you finally step up to the actual ticket counter, you aren't fighting your own facial muscles.
That is the core philosophy of this entire blueprint, isn't it?
It is. The micro habit at the digital keyboard translates directly to macro confidence in physical human interaction.
I want to pivot slightly and dig into a term the English Spark material emphasizes a lot, which is blended learning.
Right.
They claim this 4+ word rule creates a blended learning environment. Now, in the realm of educational theory, blended usually refers to mixing online classes with physical classrooms, right?
Traditionally, yes.
So what does it mean in the context of just typing words into a search bar?
To really understand why blended learning is so vital here, we have to talk about a concept in linguistics known as the affective filter.
Wait, what is an affective filter? Let's unpack that term, because it sounds like a piece of HVAC equipment.
It does sound a bit mechanical. It is a theory developed by linguist Stephen Krashen.
Okay.
The affective filter is essentially an invisible psychological barrier that prevents language acquisition.
An invisible barrier.
Right. When a learner is stressed, anxious, self-conscious, or just overwhelmed by information, their affective filter goes up.
Their brain shifts into fight or flight mode.
Precisely. Neurochemically, cortisol floods the system, and the parts of the brain responsible for absorbing new syntax simply shut down.
Wow.
You literally cannot learn a language when the affective filter is high.
That perfectly explains the absolute terror of standing in a crowded room trying to speak a new language. You know the words, but your brain just locks up.
Because the filter is engaged.
Exactly. Traditional textbook learning often raises the affective filter because it is evaluative. You're constantly being tested.
Yes. Furthermore, traditional study separates the language into these sterile, terrifying categories.
Oh, like chapter 4 is entirely about the past perfect continuous tense.
Exactly. The sheer academic weight of it is intimidating. A blended learning environment in this specific context means that vocabulary, grammar, reading, and listening are all absorbed simultaneously.
Without explicit academic labels.
Right. In an environment where the affective filter is completely lowered.
And a search bar is the ultimate safe space.
It is.
The algorithm doesn't judge you. It doesn't give you a failing grade if you mess up. It just gently autocompletes your thought. So your affective filter drops to 0.
Yes. And because you are typing full 4+ word sentences, the search results you get back are not sterile textbook examples.
They're real things.
Right. If you search a long-tail phrase like how to make scrambled eggs fluffy, you aren't given a grammar worksheet. You are given blog post titles, Reddit threads, YouTube video descriptions.
You are suddenly reading actual, unpolished human speech.
You are absorbing how native speakers construct sentences when they're just talking to each other.
I look at it like the difference between learning a musical instrument by staring at sheet music versus playing by ear.
That's a great analogy.
Right. The textbook is the sheet music. It's mathematical. It's theoretical. You understand the time signature. You know exactly what a C minor chord looks like on paper.
But it doesn't mean you can play with soul.
Exactly. This 4+ word rule, this blended immersion, is like learning to play by ear by jamming along with the radio.
You might not know the academic terminology for a dangling participle or a relative clause, but you inherently know the rhythm.
You know when a sentence sounds off-key?
That is a brilliant way to frame it. You are training the ear, not just the analytical brain. And there is an additional psychological safety net here, too.
What's that?
When learners try to immerse themselves by, say, watching an English movie without subtitles, the sheer avalanche of unknown vocabulary can be completely paralyzing.
Oh, yeah. The affective filter shoots right back up.
But the 4+ word rule is inherently bounded. You're dealing with 4, 5, or 6 words at a time. It is highly functional, bite-sized language.
You aren't drowning in the ocean. You are taking a highly controlled, highly effective swim in the deep end.
You control the pace of the input.
You are curating your own micro-immersion. I love that. Okay, we have thoroughly deconstructed the anatomy of the long tail.
We have.
We've mapped the cognitive load, the autocomplete bumpers, the spatial realities of travel, and the neurochemistry of the affective filter.
It's a lot of ground covered.
It is time to synthesize all of this. We are going to execute a final, comprehensive, deep practice assignment for our listener.
This is going to blend the spatial urgency of travel with the transactional nature of shopping, forcing the brain to handle complex, multi-layered syntax.
Listener, put yourself entirely into this physical space. You are walking down a cobblestone street in London.
Very picturesque.
You are admiring the architecture. The sky is gray, as it always is, but suddenly the sky completely opens up. A torrential downpour begins.
And you have no coat.
You have no coat. You are getting instantly soaked, and you have a very important meeting in 20 minutes. You need to buy an umbrella right now.
The adrenaline spikes. The A2 intermediate brain is screaming single words: rain, shop, umbrella.
But you've rewired your habits. You step under an awning, you pull out your phone, and you engage the 4+ word rule.
We're going to guide you through 2 advanced sentences here. Focus entirely on the physical flow of the words in your mouth.
Imagine typing this, and then imagine shouting it to a local running past you in the rain. Listen closely.
Where's the nearest shop that sells umbrellas?
Try saying that out loud.
Really feel how those words connect.
Let's do the immediate follow-up. You see the shop on the digital map, but you need to gauge the time against your upcoming meeting. Listen to this one.
How long does it take to walk there?
Say that one out loud, too.
That one is super common.
It is. Let's stick those under the microscope, though, because those are not simple sentences. Those are complex B2-level syntactic structures.
They really are.
I want to look at the first one. Where is the nearest shop that sells umbrellas? What is the advanced connective tissue hidden in that panicked search?
The absolute core of that sentence is the phrase that sells.
That sells.
Okay, that is a relative clause. For a learner, this is a massive evolutionary leap in fluency.
Why is it such a big leap?
Because a beginner would formulate 2 separate, choppy thoughts. They would say, where's the nearest shop? I need to buy an umbrella.
Right. Very disjointed.
By introducing the relative pronoun that, you are taking 2 isolated ideas and gluing them together into a single fluid concept. The noun isn't just shop anymore. It is a highly specified tool, a shop that sells umbrellas.
You are manipulating the language to serve a highly specific need.
Exactly.
That sells. It's such a tiny hinge, but it swings a massive door of meaning. What about the second sentence? How long does it take to walk there?
That sentence represents the mastery of fixed idiomatic chunks. How long does it take is a deeply English construction regarding time and effort.
Right. It's not a literal translation for most people.
Not at all. If a learner attempts to construct that idea by translating word for word from their native language, the syntax will almost certainly collapse.
Because it doesn't map one-to-one.
Depending on their origin language, they might end up asking what time makes the walk, or how many minutes until there.
Which native speakers might understand, but it immediately marks them as a beginner.
Exactly. By shadowing the exact autocomplete suggestion, how long does it take? They entirely bypass the translation bottleneck. They adopt the native architecture of time conceptualization.
You just adopt the whole chunk as a single unit of meaning. It's incredibly efficient.
It really is.
So what does this all mean for us? We started this deep dive exploring the frustrating, seemingly insurmountable wall between theoretical classroom grammar and the terrifyingly fast reality of human conversation.
And we looked at how our brains desperately try to cling to the path of least resistance by barking single words at a search engine.
Right. And what we found is that the solution isn't necessarily studying more flashcards or memorizing more verb charts.
No, the solution is a behavioral intervention.
The 4+ word rule transforms a tool you already use dozens of times a day into a long-tail fluency engine.
By forcing yourself to write complete sentences, you activate the algorithm's semantic guardrails.
You receive instant passive grammar correction.
You map spatial prepositions to your physical movements.
You lower your affective filter.
And you train your vocal muscles to execute the rhythm of connected speech.
You are essentially tricking the most advanced data retrieval system in human history into becoming your free, personalized language tutor.
It's brilliant.
You bypass the overwhelm of the academic textbook, and you find the structural elegance of English hidden in your everyday, mundane internet searches. It takes the anxiety out of the language acquisition process and returns the power to the learner.
It's a profound shift in agency. But, if I may, I'd like to present a final thought regarding this entire mechanism.
Please do.
Something that kind of pushes the boundary of what we are actually doing when we interact with these algorithms.
I always welcome your analytical curveballs. What is a final thought for our listener to mull over?
Throughout this hour, we have championed Google's autocomplete as the ultimate mirror of natural native speech.
Right. We type, it suggests the most statistically probable grammar, and we shadow it.
We learn from the machine. But we must remember that the machine's predictive model is entirely generated by the aggregate keystrokes of billions of human beings.
Right. It's a reflection of the hive mind.
Okay. But consider the feedback loop. Millions of language learners globally are now adopting these algorithmic suggestions as the absolute gold standard of correct or natural English.
Okay.
They adapt their speech to match the autocomplete. The algorithm, in turn, absorbs this adapted, highly standardized syntax, which further solidifies those specific phrasing models in its future predictions.
Oh, wow.
So the provocative question is this: who is actually training who?
That is wild.
As we continuously mirror the algorithm, and the algorithm continuously mirrors us, are we still learning the organic, messy, regional nuances of English? Or, in our pursuit of perfect, frictionless communication, are we inadvertently training ourselves to speak perfectly synchronized Googlish?
Wow. Let me just sit with that for a second. The feedback loop of standardized syntax, that completely upends the dynamic.
It does make you think.
We aren't just learning from the tool. We are mutually evolving a new, algorithmically smoothed dialect of human language. Are we speaking English or are we speaking Googlish? That is an absolutely brilliant and slightly unsettling paradigm shift.
It certainly changes the weight of the keystrokes the next time you engage that search bar.
It absolutely does. Well, to you, our listener, thank you for joining us on this incredibly expansive deep dive. We hope you've walked away not just with a practical shortcut to fluency, but with a deeper understanding of the cognitive and algorithmic forces shaping how we actually communicate.
Keep questioning the tools you use.
Yes, and keep pushing for that long tail.
I
We will see you on the next deep dive.